Overview. Okay, pay close attention because I'm going to be honest with you. Connections that don't mince words, they're a game, and the quicker you grasp the rules, you'll play more effectively if you've... Have you ever felt entirely lost, puzzled, or lacking the ability to deal with today's women are different? You have two options: remain unsure and stalled, or take action up and discover what actually works. And I'm going to present the unprocessed, the unvarnished reality of how minds function, how you can take both hers and yours authority in ways that no one else is willing to discuss. Your desire for her to become fixated on, you want her to come after you, rather than constantly chasing after her. Then it's time to stop squandering time on pointless guidance and concentrate on what, in fact, psychological power is important, kind that alters the game and goes deep. This is the thing that ladies aren't for good. These tiny, helpless beings prefer to act as though they have their own methods, their own actions, and believe me, they utilize them on a daily basis. To obtain what they desire, you believe you're playing fair. Reconsider. This is a battlefield. Now the moment has come to prepare with the information that will totally change the script. You may be asking yourself, is this correct? Should I even be studying this? I'll stop you there so you can worry. Concerning right and wrong following your victory in the inactuality, those who succeed don't obey the guidelines they revise. And what I'm about to demonstrate isn't about using manipulation merely to, it's about always being in charge, feeling helpless and confirming that this isn't for the person making the decisions, those that wish to be cautious or maintain. This is for people who are being kind. I'm done playing and feeling underappreciated, tiny and prepared to enter the type of assurance and authority they are entitled to. If you should prepare yourselves, because I'm going to provide access to a whole new method of most people are too afraid to think, to even recognize. Section 1. Evoking effective reactions. You can't unsee it after you've seen it. Actually, this strategy is in line with something far more ancient, something that has endured over time. The Stoics' belief in stoicism, controlling your feelings and maintaining your inner world that remains stable despite upheaval, is all around you. And guess what? Precisely what I'm referring to. It's about becoming more adept at managing your emotions while maintaining your poise and deciding from a position of strength. Doesn't mean responding to everything, except picking your moves thoughtfully and methodically. If you follow these guidelines, you're not just engaging in the game, you're learning is, I have you with me since this is simply the before we jump right in. Taker, do not hesitate to subscribe if you are prepared to change the way you manage relationships. Utilizing Stoicism's strength in each video is a step in the direction of mental mastery and constructing more robust and significant, okay, let's get started. One that elicits feelings, I'll explain it to you in a way that's simple to obtain in order to affect a logic is forgotten in a woman's head. Really, ignore the facts and disregard it. Logic or well-considered arguments, they won't help you in any way. Why? As women are incapable of processing logic similar to how males do. What truly motivates, they are feelings, and you must own responsibility for the situation. Concentrate and consider it. Have you ever attempted to provide an explanation during an argument outlining every detail in a logical and obvious manner, yet she still not understand, as it's not about reasonably, it's about what she believes that women are predisposed to react to emotions rather than reason. And the worst part is, most likely, they have been using this against you without even being aware of it. They'll pretend to be distressed, play the guilt card, or to transfer authority, act as though you're harmed. Their favor had ever left you perplexed following a dispute, wondering how it risen so fast, or why do you think like the emotional antagonist authority at work? But don't worry, it's definitely not. The way the game is played is your fault. The good news is that you can change the story. The secret is to first arouse her feelings, maintain her suspense, keep her guessing, and observe how the dynamic shifts. This is the in-actuality. Rationality does not produce attraction. However, uncertainty occurs when you create her sense of exhilaration, or not joy, envy, or even mild anxiety. You are in control of your emotions. Compelling, and if you can produce those peaks and valleys, she will begin to associate. You stay with her if you have them with you. Remember this expert advice. Learn to create emotional spikes, which entails combining things up, pay attention to her, and make she feels unique for a second, then pulls back and appear aloof the next time that shove. Pull dynamic keeps her unsteady. Constantly looking for your approval, she'll maintain your emotional interest because you never know what's going to happen next. The unpredictable nature of her investment, always desiring more, prepared to see the change. Let me hit now to begin playing more intelligently. You have some truth, and most others do too. Section 2. Make use of her anxieties, hesitant to publicly acknowledge that women have their own goals in the connections they wish to maintain control by keeping you emotionally invested. But the truth is, if you are able to learn how to use her feelings before she begins to act inappropriately, you've already won with yours, attempting to use logic to get through it. The battlefield is your emotions. Therefore, you'll never be able to dominate there. Let me weave in something now. The stoic attitude is deeper here. Realize that our feelings might be our greatest power or our most significant. They taught us to remain in our weaknesses, mastery over our inner selves, regardless of what takes place outside of us. So it's possible that women are playing the emotional game. You won't forfeit yourself in the confusion. You will remain composed, strategic, and calm. As a Stoic may envision it, exactly like the Stoics don't allow the sentimental. You become sidetracked by storms surrounding you. You can identify feelings for what they are, transient waves, and decide how you reply, that you are in charge of your own sentiments, that indicate you can impact the circumstance without getting caught up in it, teaches you to react, not you have power because you react. And combining that degree of authority, having the capacity to produce surges in your emotions, and now you're playing a completely distinct game, one in which you're always one step ahead. Let's move forward even deeper. If you're interested in staying in control, that you must comprehend and apply. Her worries, yes, that sounds severe, but the in-actuality. This dread is among the most strong motivators, and women, you guessed it, possess the same anxieties as everyone else. Fear of rejection and abandonment. Fear of being inadequate isn't only sporadic fears, but they are genuine weaknesses, and when you're able to gain the upper hand by tapping into them, most people don't discuss this, because it seems too dark or intense, but we are not here to make things seem easier for you. Either take charge of the circumstance, or you allow it controls you. You have a choice. This is how women's worries operate, more profound than they admit. After you determine what she fears, you can keep her by using that information. I'm psychologically and emotionally hooked, so let me, as an illustration, consider the Christian Grey, a character in 50 Shades of Why does Anastasia remain so fixated? Grey. He is undoubtedly wealthy and gorgeous with him. However, that isn't the whole tale. The thing that keeps her returning is the way he plays on her fear of being left behind. He pulls her in for a time, making the next time he's far away, she feels special, making her uncertain about where she remains, that ongoing uncertainty, fearing that she's not good enough, she could lose him, which would emotionally drain her. Linked, it's not only love or the emotional roller coaster is attraction. He makes her hold on the coaster. even to him. If you would like to learn more, here is the takeaway. Maintain control and give her the impression that the worst thing that could happen would be losing you. Might occur when she fears that you are in charge of the relationship. Keep her alert, and she'll continue to pursuing you. Let me clarify one thing. Section 3. The push-pull method. I'm not telling you to leave the house. Terrify anyone. That isn't the objective. What I'm asking is, do you need this? To comprehend the motivations behind her actions. Whether you like it or not, fear is a major component of it if you can gently appeal to her anxieties. You are in charge of regulating the flow of the relationship. So let's connect this to something that is rarely talked about, is the Stoic mentality. The Stoics recognized that our feelings, particularly dread, which can be either a trap or a tool for growth, they acknowledge that although fear is a normal emotion, we don't have to allow it to govern our response. Instead, we might face it with mastery over our own intellect and reason feelings before attempting to influence others. In such Stoic connections method offers you a competitive advantage. When you're knowing her concerns, you avoid being swept. You remain enmeshed in the emotional turmoil, focused, strategic, and well-informed knowledge that your chosen emotional triggers are instruments, not shortcomings. By using the Stoic, the apatha freedom principle from you can act with emotional disturbance, control, not out of terror or desperation, which fosters a feeling of power and safety that others cannot match. Ignore the fact that fear can be a strong motivation. It's how you react to that makes a big difference. So use it carefully, and with calm composure, you'll maintain. Now that you have the power, let's discuss a technique that is practically assured to keep her interested in the push-pull method. It's easy, but wow, does it work? Here's how it does it for you. Make her feel special by paying attention to her, and you abruptly retreat after that. Silent or far away that keeps going back and forth produces emotional strain and allows, I can tell you, that mental stress is similar to an addicting substance. She won't even acknowledge it, but she will continue to return. More pleading for your attention. The thing with women is that they flourish on the highs and lows of her emotions provide her. She becomes bored when she receives too much attention. She feels neglected and is given too little. But after you become proficient at balancing both, when she continues to guess, you establish a mental loop in which she cannot leave. She will spend all of her moment pondering what you're contemplating you're going to do next, and that she will remain attentive due to emotional strain. The push-pull method isn't working on you. It's more than just a game. It develops strategy, that ideal balance of uncertainty and enthusiasm that sustains her emotionally connected, and the greatest portion when she's occupied with examining she'll stop thinking about every action, her personal needs, and begin concentrating on you. That type of control maintains her arrival back. Let me to explain it with a genuine, real example that you are most likely familiar with, part of Justin and Elena Gomez's story, Bieber. That partnership was similar to a roller coaster that never stops twisting and twists. What made it so captivating for everyone? More significantly, what caused it to survive so long? Straightforward push-pull dynamics that Justin would give everything your utmost to make Selena feel the public displays at the center of his universe of love, large gestures, and the works, that's the push. And then suddenly he'd retreat. Perhaps he would become involved with someone else or simply abandon her. Not sure where they were at the time. Section 4. Convert her trust to your advantage. Emotional whiplash maintained the partnership. Popularity in the media and, more significantly, in Selena's, she has even acknowledged how difficult it was to continue wondering what might have happened. That is the force that push-pull generates. This cycle of doubt, hope, and uncertainty Mixed Selena and her partner continued to try to figure out things out of a cycle that ended her long-term emotional attachment to Justin. After all, this should have been resolved. Is a master lesson in more than simply drama. Sentimental. Now, how can you apply entanglement in your life is easier than you think. Start with the shove, I believe, to make her feel. Give her a unique compliment and take her out. She's significant to you, therefore give her your focus and give her the impression that she's feeling ecstatic. Then when she's feeling fantastic, pull back, be far away, take acting busy or taking longer to respond to her SMS. This abrupt change will confuse her. Balance, and she will begin to pursue that sensing once more and wondering why you've, here's the key, snatched away, and never let her feel as well. Safe, as soon as she feels comfortable, you've all figured out that she will lose. Women are drawn to excitement and volatility, even if it's emotionally perplexed, which is why the push-pull method produces a cycle of highs and lows in emotions that maintains her interest. But this is where the Stoic thinking brings the Stoic thing into sharper focus. Recognize that feelings, particularly ones such as anxiety or uncertainty, might be potent instruments, but only if you maintain judgment of them in partnerships. When you comprehend push-pull psychology, you're not engaging in mental games because you're playing with awareness and malice. Stoic notion of emotional apathy. Being free lets you stay composed, calm and untouched by the feelings you're causing mayhem, which grants you a Marcus and other Stoics with a deeper sense of power. Seneca and Aurelius discussed controlling your own emotions and desires. In order to keep your inner peace, you're not allowing her to be unpredictable, or your mood is determined by emotional strain. Rather, you are taking advantage of the circumstance to stay calm and sensible while she's still. This is enmeshed in the emotional current. How partnerships are approached stoically is not the same as impulsive behavior, regarding being aloof or frigid, but regarding recognizing and managing your emotional reactions to maneuver the peaks and valleys successfully. So avoid being the guy who's always accessible and always reliable, the one who always keeps her wondering. You're wondering what's going to happen next. Keep her emotionally involved by considering Justin and Selena are the best, was unable to turn away, and neither could you establish the beat, and she'll, when you prefer a stoic approach, follow your lead. Remain composed and in charge of your personal feelings. Okay, before we leap back in, if this hit is useful to you. The like button facilitates YouTube sharing. More males in need of it, and it keeps the stuff flowing, and it's free and quick. And it creates a genuine difference. Thank you, and let's resume. Prepared for the next level, let's discuss how to discreetly change her self-confidence to your advantage. Listen up. You've been doing everything incorrect, which is why you continue to strike. Our women aren't seeking a partner who is looking and easy to win over for men who are capable of confronting them, just enough to satisfy their want for more. I'm not referring about being impolite or brutal, but employing deft, nuanced techniques that make her doubt herself and continue to. She is vying for your approval. Consider it. Guys give women a lot of attention, attempting to impress them, but what transpires when you're not only smitten with her, when you're not pursuing her all the time? At that point, she begins to inquire herself, and at that point, you have the being cruel isn't the same as having power. About using strategic thinking and intelligence. For instance, Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl. He's not the kind of good guy he knows. Precise method for interfering with Blair Waldorf's feelings that give her a sense of belonging and uncertain about herself at one point. He's giving her lots of praise, and after that, he adds some critique. It works in real life and isn't simply for TV. Life, since it maintains women's toes when you gently cast doubt on her herself, making her rely on you for Section 5, the influence of enigma confirmation. She'll begin to worry what she can do anything to bring you joy, and that's where you begin to exert influence over the circumstance. It's all about establishing an equilibrium. She's not insecure, but seeking your acceptance in this way. You can begin with something pleasant, a sincere praise that gives her the impression that excellent, then immediately follow up with a brief, nuanced criticism. For instance, tell she appears stunning, but perhaps her attire isn't the most appropriate for the situation. As you proceed, that back is created and tension in a single conversation. Although she feels wonderful, she questions whether she's done something incorrectly, and that uncertainty makes her return for your blessing. Then she uses another ruse to demonstrate her interest. Pull away, pay attention to her, and make her feel unique, then act out of the blue far away. She'll begin to question what she did something incorrectly. Thus, she'll strive to win. Returning your focus, which results in a circumstance in which she is continuously attempting to convince you of her worth, which maintains her emotionally committed. Let's now introduce the viewpoint of the Stoics, particularly individuals such as Marcus Aurelius and Serbiana, were all about dominance, genuine feelings, and not being swayed by the ability to change the external environment. The confidence of an individual is less about manipulation and a greater focus on upholding your own equilibrium, you observe the Stoic. The concept of emotional freedom taught by Epictetus, that perseverance is the source of great strength. Untouched by emotional swings, circumstances in which you gently tug and push. In reality, you're in charge of your own emotional reaction to the circumstance, instead of responding rashly or emotionally rather than continuously. Seeking validation or pursuing approval, your own value by drawing her attention to the being grounded, is the goal of the Stoic approach. Within your own self-sufficiency through giving and subsequently receiving, take a step back. You're causing emotional dynamics without losing command, actually. You're utilizing over your self-intelligence to approach her wisely while preserving your own emotional equilibrium. This ultimately attracts her to you, establishing a circumstance in which she's always looking for your approval whilst you stay steadfast and unflinching, which is where the real power lies, by becoming adept at striking a balance between you can discreetly challenge and gain approval. Change her self-confidence, causing her to emotionally reliant on your approval while you remain grounded and in control. And as emotionally stable as a Stoic would definitely keep her alert at all times, wondering how she feels about you, but never allow it to destabilize you. Your inner serenity and self-control are your maximum power, which is where the dynamic genuine power. The rhythm is maintained by lies, and she'll adhere to your lead. Let's discuss the strength of women are attracted to mystery males who are difficult to determine, who doesn't put all their cards on the table. Letting her wonder what your thinking, sentiments, and subsequent action generate a feeling of fascination when she's uncertain about, captivated, and that she is kept by curiosity, returning for more. The objective isn't to destroy her soul, but to establish a dynamic where she respects your viewpoint and looks for your approval. Once you put her second-guess yourself, you present yourself as the person she looks to for comfort, granting you authority in the connection. Here's something that, although that may be difficult to hear, it is true. Being emotionally available weakens you in women's perspectives. Society has provided us with the notion that we ought to be transparent and share our emotions and show vulnerability. But in actuality, women have less regard for males who wear their hearts on their sleeves. They admire men who control their emotions, verify who doesn't collapse under pressure, and who keep a feeling of mystery. When you're overly sentimental, accessible, you become dependable. And, to be honest, dull ladies aren't drawn to men who are constantly present and sharing and never close. What they desire is the excitement of the unknown, the difficulty of attempting to understand you. Consider James Bond is the ideal illustration of a man who controls his emotions. Bond doesn't take a seat and open up. To everyone, he's emotionally resilient, and that's why women find him irresistible. Wish to be the one to overcome his difficult outside and notices his weak spot, but he would lose if he revealed too much. That charm. The reality is that women are emotional creatures, in need of someone powerful enough to lean on. If you frequently share your sentiments and showing vulnerability, you just been yet another source of emotional strain for her to carry. But you must be the rock instead, the person who can manage her feelings while controlling yours. This does not imply that you ought to bottle anything up, but you must be intelligent. Regarding the timing and manner of sharing personal sentiments, let her know you're a human being, but keep her and never give anything away. Speculating and the resulting emotional strain will, when you do give your information, keep her interested. Emotions ensure that it is in a manner that demonstrates strength rather than weakness. Tales of difficulties you've surmounted. In conclusion, about the times you've persevered when times were difficult, this demonstrates that you're a competent man who can manage any comes your way. Even her feelings are what really define you. Unstoppable. Let's now introduce a little. In this instance, the Stoics were. Marcus is an expert at controlling his emotions. For instance, Aelius explained that an individual's inner tranquility shouldn't be affected by outside circumstances or individuals' responses they thought had the potential to apathy is the state of not being impacted by feelings in which the person stays concentrated and powerful in spite of external conflict in connection to relationships. This Stoic attitude is essential by controlling your emotions and preserving your sense of mystery. Imitate self-control, a Stoic virtue. You're preventing your feelings from control your behavior or provide others with the ability to influence your actions, which results in a strength balance where she could seek approval but don't rely on others. On her consent to keep your emotional balance with this method does not imply that all emotions should be repressed. Indicates that you handle it sensibly, disclosing just enough for her to understand that you're a human, but not to the point where you lose your breath. Of strength and mystery, similar to the Stoics, don't have to feel anything. Exposed to demonstrate your strength and capacity to remain calm and anchored, despite in the midst of her mental turmoil, is what will eventually earn her respect for you. Maintain her interest by recalling the Stoic method isn't about suppressing feelings. Ultimately, it's about preserving. Controlling them to keep her guessing and retreating at key junctures does not cause you to become cold, but rather powerful, calm, and in charge, exactly as advised by the Stoics. That's precisely what women discover irresistible. So this is the raw truth about assuming command in. The goal of partnerships is not to be manipulative or cruel. It concerns knowing the dynamics and applying them. Relationship management is a game of psychological strength, and those with knowledge, the best approach to play, will always win out. Now, if you take a Stoic view of this viewpoint, it all comes down to mastering your feelings and being aware of the power balance. As advocated by the Stoics, the mastery of our inner selves is essential, whether it's in the workplace or relationships. Generally speaking, life is about not being influenced by the feelings of others or expectations, and keeping a composed, grounded presence by keeping your emotions in check gives you power over, just like the Stoics did in this situation. Overcoming obstacles in their own life with relationship resiliency and wisdom. This entails establishing the dynamic where you're not emotionally reliant, yet rather emotionally strong, and this is how you create genuine centeredness. Power and strength without using coercion, but by maintaining self-control. Consider what you would do if this video aired. Make sure your eyes strike that like click and sign up for additional insights into relationship psychology. Remember to activate the notification. Leave a comment bell so you never miss an update. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think. I believe you have tried any of these methods, or do you intend to keep in mind that knowledge is power and maintain your acuity? Remain tactical and assume command of your relationships and lives, similar to the thanks for watching Stoics did. I'll see you in the upcoming video.